Hey friends, what's up? How's it going? Ash here. Welcome back to Extra Gent Sense. It's really late. Usually don't film videos really late at night because I'm just kind of tired. Energy level, -10. But tonight is different. Tonight we're going to be talking about some deep cuts from the collection. Got some indie fragrances, designer fragrances, niche fragrances, the whole gamut here. Now I'm not saying these are necessarily fantastically awesome deep cuts. Some of them definitely better than others. They're just fragrances that I hardly ever mention or have never mentioned. So let's jump into it. Let's check these guys out. Let's kick things off with an Azzaro. It is Pure Vetiver. There are a number of Azzaro fragrances that come in bottles like this one, and pretty much none of those fragrances that come in this style of bottle get any love or any hype nowadays. Some of them are harder to find than others. I've also got Pure Lavender down here and Pure Cedrat. But since I'm a vetiver guy, I pulled out Pure Vetiver for this video. Realistically though, I could have pulled out any of those. Pulled out? Yeah. This one, as you can probably tell by the coloration of the fragrance here, a bit aromatic. It's fresh, spicy. It's got a little aquatic feel to it. The vetiver in here is not too deep, not too earthy or smoky or rich. More a clean, soapy vetiver. Kind of smells like something that Lacoste might do. You know, like a sporty, fresh, easy peasy run-of-the-mill vetiver. Came out in 2000. I believe it's been discontinued for quite a while, but you can still pick these up from discounters from time to time, Pure Vetiver anyway, for a not altogether terrible price. I think that Pure Lavender is the most expensive. I could be wrong, it could be Pure Cedrat, but I think Pure Lavender is the most expensive of these pure fragrances. It's a nice little fragrance to have in the collection because it's really easy to wear, like I said, soapy and clean. So it's that type of fragrance that nobody's gonna really dislike, but it doesn't have quite enough to really take it to that next level and make it the type of fragrance that people are really gonna pine after and people are really gonna want. It's almost like the definition of a fragrance that is good, but is missing things that would have made it great. So there's Pure Vetiver, bust that one out. Next up, a fragrance from Spirit of Kings. Fragrance is named Zaurac. Yeah, that's a weird name. Sounds like something that would be in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, like a villain. Zaurac! We will kill the Power Rangers. So Spirit of Kings, they sent their stuff out to YouTubers and Instagrammers. I think it's the fragrance line for a niche fragrance store in Europe. Like they have an in-house line of fragrances, which is Spirit of Kings. At least I believe that's what they are. So essentially they just hit up anybody and everybody that was an influencer and sent them something. They asked for my address, and then this popped up, and this was quite a while ago. So I got it in and I looked at the thing, doop-de-doo, and I thought, it's one of those presentations that, you know, it's like gaudy and tacky in kind of a cheap way. And I don't mean to be mean about that, but it's just kind of how it came across. And then I gave the fragrance a spray. Atomizer is really good. Did you see that? That's a good atomizer. Then you give the fragrance a little whiff and you realize, oh, it's a clone. Like it's a high-end clone, like a niche clone, a niche brand that clones, whatever. But it's not your typical clone style of fragrance, because this isn't one of those clone houses where they're saying, hey, I'm a master perfumer, but actually what I'm doing is buying clone oils and then putting alcohol in it and saying, look what I made. It's done by Christian Provenzano, so it's an actual perfumer that's attached to the fragrance, but it smells suspiciously similar to Tom Ford's Oud Wood. And when I say suspiciously similar, I mean that's exactly what they were going for. They basically said, hey man, can you make us like our own version of Oud Wood? Would that be cool? And that's what this is. The quality is good though. I mean, compared to your other clone type fragrances out there, it's actually really nice. It smells a lot better than your typical cheap clones, but that's because it's not cheap. So it's an interesting fragrance because it's cloning something else out there, but then the quality is very good, but then the price is high also. So then you just kind of question yourself and say, well, maybe I should just buy the real thing. Let's get this cheese ball fragrance out of the way. Michel Germain Sexual Steel. Michel Germain has their sexual line of fragrances, which is in itself just kind of cheesy when you have a whole line and they're all just sexual. And the bottles themselves remind me of the old Halston bottles, like Halston C14. Let's give Sexual Steel a spray. It's been a minute since I've smelled this one. Very fresh. It's got lavender in here. It's got citrus. It's like very slightly soapy and a little metallic, which I guess you would expect because its name is Sexual Steel. It's vaguely reminiscent of something like Azzaro Chrome. I don't know if that's because the coloration of the fragrance bottle is making me think chrome, and then also that kind of metallic feel that it has with that fresh out of the shower kind of vibe that the fragrance puts across is just putting chrome into my mind, but that's what's popping into my head when I'm smelling it here. Now the fragrance itself smells completely fine. Very easy to wear, very versatile, spring, summertime, daytime fragrance, office safe as well, and more of a gym scent, I would say. But the issue here is going to be that this one you can't usually find at discounters for cheap. And so then you look at full retail and it's like $80 to $110. And for that price point, there's a lot of stuff out there that you can get instead of it. Still, I wanted to talk about one of these sexual fragrances, and this is the one I grabbed. Sexual Steel, not a steal at that price point full retail. Am I right? Next, let's talk about something that smells awesome. Hendley Perfumes Fume. I've had this bottle for a long time, and I oh so seldomly spray this because this is all I have. This itty bitty tiny bottle. I think it's 15 milliliters. This actually, if memory serves correctly, made my first fall niche indie top 10. I don't know, might have been winter. I wore it a few times after making that list, but then I just couldn't bring myself to spray it more because when I look at this bottle, it's so itty bitty and I don't want to run through it. And I know for a while you couldn't get Fume, and then you could get Fume, and then you couldn't get Fume, and you couldn't. And I checked before this video, and right now you can't get it. So, but just because I'm doing this video, yeah, that is friggin' awesome. I love it. So good. This is not the type of fragrance that your average Joe is gonna like. They're gonna smell this and go, there's no way I could wear that. That's not a thing. You can't wear it. Like, what is that? Like a room spray if you want to pretend that you're staying at a cabin and you just came in from a bonfire? Like, is that what we're doing here? And I would say yes. Yeah. And it smells awesome. So the resinous woods and the smokiness of this fragrance, I think just smells absolutely fantastic. Stunning fragrance. Absolutely love it. Then we'll talk about this fragrance, Rich Mess, from Richmond. Now this one is very much a love it or hate it fragrance. Not too many people are gonna smell this and think, it's okay. Yeah, that's fine. Probably not gonna happen too much. It's the type of fragrance that when you smell it, you know right away, this is for me and I could pull this off, or holy crap, I can never wear that ever. Why? I would think most people that have a large collection that have smelled a whole lot of fragrances, when they smell this, they'll be more drawn to it. But people that wear just standard designer fragrances and just want something very easygoing, versatile, compliment pulling, mass appealing, that type of fragrance, when they smell this, they won't be into it too much. You can look at the coloration of the fragrance and know that you're in for something strong, something fierce. Not like Abercrombie and Fitch fierce. It has fig, grapefruit, sandalwood, among other notes, but really what stands out and what you get slapped with in the face as soon as you spray this on, what's gonna linger there for hours and hours and hours, is leather. You've got little floral nuances that poke out, show their head here and there as the fragrance dries down, that tries to smooth the edges of that leather a little bit, but man, this lasts forever. Really strong, the type of fragrance that will absolutely fill up a room, that will absolutely get you noticed. I'll tell you, when I first got the fragrance, I first sprayed it on, Wasn't sure what to think because, you know, you see the presentation here. It had no box. It's very simple, just kind of a decant bottle with a sticker slapped on the front. And you think, that doesn't look like they put too much effort into it here. You smell the fragrance for the first time, you get punched in the face aggressively by that leather, and that's when you realize either, yes, it's for me, or nope, the whole package is just bunk and I don't like it. First time I smelled it, I thought I'm probably never gonna come around to liking this. Gave it some more wear as time went on and really grew to appreciate it. But like I said, it's not gonna be for everybody. Then a fragrance I've talked about a few times. It is from Elie Saab. It's Essence number 3, Ambre. Now this line of fragrances was done by Francis Kirkshon, the entire line of fragrances. And sometimes, not very often anymore, but sometimes you can find these fragrances at discounters for a good price. And if you can, they're absolutely worth checking out. The line of fragrances is solid. Number 3 is the one that I talk about the most because I think it's a top-notch amber fragrance. As I said, done by a huge perfumer with great quality, assuming you can find it from a discounter for a non-outrageous price. Really sweet, very warm, inviting, really well done. Very smooth with great nuances that kind of pop out along the edges of the scent. This bit of woodiness and a Papanax blending together with the amber here. It's a unisex fragrance. Men can easily pull this one off. Maybe it's marketed more toward women, but it's easily worn by a guy. And on top of it all, the presentation is really nice looking and has a great magnetic cap. And finally, we're gonna talk about a fragrance from Ted Lapidus. It is Black Soul Imperial. This one's really inexpensive. You can find it for under 30 bucks at discounters, and it's a really nice change of pace fragrance for cooler weather months. You have leather in here once again. You've got spices, coffee, citrus, and mint as some of the other notes in the fragrance. And this one is a really nice, warm, spicy, masculine scent with very good performance, which you would probably expect from the house of Ted Lapidus. That smells much better than you would expect if you're unfamiliar with the house and all you see is this kind of, frankly, cheap-looking bottle at a cheap price. It is an interesting fragrance though. It's at times really sweet and smooth and then warm and spicy, and it changes a good amount as it dries down as well. Because you're hit with that citrus initially, and then as it dries down, it definitely gets a little bit darker and spicier, and the coffee comes out and becomes one of the more prominent notes, mixing together with a good amount of warm spices. For the price though, this is really good and underrated. Basically, it's one of those deals where there's a good amount of people that are fans of Ted Lapidus, and they know about this, and they wear it, and that's pretty much it. Not too many other people seem to journey over into the Ted Lapidus aisles of fragrance stores. So there we go, guys. Just some deep cuts from the fragrance collection I wanted to ramble about a little bit this evening. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Let me know if you've smelled any of these fragrances, what you think about them, whether you like some of these, don't like them, you know, just let me know. And I'll see you guys again another time soon. Thank you for hanging with me. Thanks for your support, guys. Take it easy.